fight right now?
Timothy Bradley, Paulie,
Yeah.
Floyd Mayweather, Devin Alexander, and whoever the fan wants to see.
Yeah. Listen, I told you give them something visual. So you went ahead and made your own YouTube-based TV show. It's an array of IPAs and fighters on the road. Got a question? Put them in your comment section right below. Barbershop talk while you're sitting in your living room. Pacquiao, Mayweather, and we can't forget the brews. Coming to you live with the scoops like a ladle. Allow me to introduce the boxing round table. Yeah.
Rollo Jenkins, boxologist, Zone 6, Dre, BT Pound, 78 Fight News, Blood Boxing, Blood Fists, Boxing Beats and Rhymes, Female Boxing Fan, Carter J, Pull Counter, Joker Boxing, D Styles, the whole YTBC.
Break it down. Give me 5 people you ready to fight right now.
Timothy Bradley, Paulie,
Yeah.
Floyd Mayweather, Devin Alexander, and whoever the fan wants to see.
Yeah. Listen, I told you give them something visual. So you went ahead and made your own YouTube-based TV show. It's an array of IPAs and fighters on the road. Got a question? Put them in your comment section right below. Barbershop talk while you're sitting in your living room. Pacquiao, Mayweather, and we can't forget the brews. Coming to you live with the scoops like a ladle. Allow me to introduce the boxing round table. Yeah.
Rollo Jenkins, boxologist, Zone 6, Dre, BT Pound, 78 Fight News, Blood Boxing, Blood Fists, Boxing Beats and Rhymes, Female Boxing Fan, Carter J, Pull Counter, Joker Boxing, D Styles.
All right, it's go time. We live in HD. All right, we just checking the levels, making sure the sound is all good and everybody is ready to go, man. All right. It's your boy Zone 6 coming at you with another video live in HD, straight off the temple, notepad or pencil. We off in the East Side Palace. It is what it is. So, as the title suggests, this is about Tank Davis. Let me make this apparently clear and abundantly clear off the top. This is my wish list and what I think and what I hope. I'm a Tank Davis fan, and it's time to go ahead and cook on this subject matter. Okay, the fight with Devin, Haney, and Lomachenko is over with. We're moving past that now. And I got 2 questions to pose to the boxing fans. If you're a fan of Lomachenko and you are in a belief that he truly won the fight, raise your hand. Okay? If you are in a belief that Devin Haney won the fight to hold on to his undisputed crown, raise your hand. If you believe that it was a draw, and you believe that neither one won and neither one lost, raise your hand. Okay, cool. I made it clear that I'm in the opinion that Devin Haney actually won the fight. But I can see a different perspective. So let me start with the different perspective and how this relates to Tank Davis and me being a Tank Davis fan. Tank needs to fight again this year. If he don't, I'll be extremely disappointed, and I will call him out live in HD on my platform. He has to fight this year. And I'm not talking about some tomato can that they dig up. They have to fight somebody. This is Team Tank. They have to fight somebody that has a pulse. And the two guys that's coming to my mind off the top, after the aftermath of the controversial decision between Lomachenko and Haney, I think Haney won. So my first choice is Haney versus Tank for undisputed supremacy at the end of this year. No excuses, no caveats, no deviation from the rules. Period. Now, if you are in the belief that Lomachenko won, and that is in your truest of hearts, if Tank Davis was to fight Lomachenko next, would we hold that against him? Because I'm open to that fight too, because I think that Tank can beat both of them based on what I saw. I care less about your controversy. I can care less about your disagreement with the decision. I like the fight between the two. I was neutral. I just had Devin Haney winning the fight. I didn't give a fuck because my horse in the race is Tank Davis. That's who I'm advocating for. Like the other guys, but my guy is Tank Davis at 135. Make no bones about it. I'm being transparent and honest with you. So I'm licking my chops, evaluating these guys, see which one is food for Tank. And I came to the conclusion that both of them, Devin Haney and Lomachenko, are food for Tank. So if you are in the belief that Lomachenko won, if a fight get made with Tank Davis versus Lomachenko, now I already know the Devin Haney truthers are going to say, well, he should be fighting Devin next, obviously, for undisputed. That makes sense. And I believe that he should be fighting Devin Haney next to get that undisputed title. Now, but however, we have a bunch of people that saying that it's a draw. So if Tank Davis was to fight Lomachenko, would that be an acceptable fight to you guys? That's the question. Just something to think about. Because if Tank, and when Tank started to get this ball rolling, I don't want to hear any excuses about Lomachenko coming off a loss if he and Tank was to sign a contract to fight. Because remember now, a third of you think that Lomachenko won. Another third of you think it was a draw. And only a third of us are trying to really say that Devin Haney won the fight from a casual perspective. So for all you Lomachenko truthers out there, if Tank Davis was to fight Lomachenko this year at the end of the year, will there be any fucking excuses made? That's what I want to know. So I'm calling out all the Lomachenko truthers who believe that this was a draw in a devastating robbing of history. I'm asking you right now, do you think that if Tank Davis and Lomachenko were to make a fight, will Tank Davis get full credit for it? Or will there be excuses such as he's coming off a loss? This, that, and the third. Lomachenko is old. And I'm talking specifically to the Lomachenko truthers and the people who had it a draw. If Tank fight Lomachenko as opposed to Devin Haney, is that an acceptable fight? because both are acceptable to me. I think he needs to get both. I don't really care which order he get it in. Obviously, I wouldn't mind if he beats Haney for undisputed first and then defend it against Lomachenko to add more accolades to the victory. But if he beat Lomachenko and then go beat Devin Haney, I'm fine with that order too. I don't care. But I'm asking a genuine question. If Lomachenko and Tank were to sign to fight next, will there be any excuses? That's the question. Since there's so many people that believe Lomachenko was robbed, mistreated, and abused and misused, let's go ahead and make a Tank fight versus Lomachenko. Let's make Tank versus Lomachenko an option. Remember, because this guy, it's a draw, remember? Remember now, it's a draw. That's what you guys are saying. It's a draw. He was robbed. So in your mind, there's value in Lomachenko still. He's not old. He's not any of the things that you guys described. He's a full, intact, functioning fighter, and he's ultimate legacy for any one of these guys at 135 if they were to beat him. Full credit. Now that we got that off the table, because ain't no going back, because your hand's been exposed. And I'm not going to let you go back. We'll never be able to say Lomachenko at this point is aged and washed. I don't want to hear that shit at all from nobody. Praise and credit to Lomachenko for doing his thing and possibly getting robbed or at least getting a draw. So when Tank fights him, because see, I'm a Tank fan. I'm going to let the Devin people build up how they supposed to build up with him. I'm defending Tank. So when Tank's beat him, or when Tank booked the fight with Lomachenko, if he booked the fight with Lomachenko, there's not going to be any excuses, correct? And for anybody that's a Lomachenko fan, I want to have this conversation with you. Let me go ahead and copy this and paste this in here. Go get your friends. Go get whoever you want to get. And this is an open topic. This is a light work, subjective debate. Anybody that's up and can hear the sound of my voice, I'm telling you, I'm looking for smoke right now. It's a hypothetical, so you don't need to know no history. You don't got to be nervous. It's hypothetical is your opinion. I'm looking for smoke this morning. And I'm specifically looking for the Lomachenko truthers. And as a Tank fan, I'm asking you, if Tank fights Lomachenko, is there going to be any fucking excuses? I don't want to hear this coming off a loss shit. Let's talk about coming off a loss. Let's do some research. And let's talk about what probably should happen then. And about this coming off a loss bullshit. Okay, if he's coming off a loss, then he can this is Lomachenko, get his ass back in the back of the line and build himself up. All this crybaby wars me shit is dead. So let's take a look at something real quick. Let's take a look at what Muhammad Ali had to do. Okay. So on the screen, I want you guys to just look at that for a brief moment. And I'm going to ask you again. If you believe that Lomachenko drew with Devin Haney, and you believe that Lomachenko won, then if Tank books a fight with him, we're good, correct? There's no issues. But let's take a look at something that's important about this coming off a loss, bullshit, and all that kind of thing, right? So typically, and what usually is supposed to happen is when you lose, you look at Muhammad Ali. He lost to Joe Frazier in 71. All right? You see that there. Lost to him in 71. he had to go on a new gauntlet to reestablish himself as a heavyweight contender. He had to fight because for some reason people think that it was like this immediate trilogy and immediate rematch for Muhammad Ali and Frazier. No, that's not the case. So let's comb through what the legends have done and what history has shown us. After Muhammad Ali lost to Joe Frazier, classic fight of the century, he had to get back in contingency. He had to fight Jimmy Ellis, Buster Mathis, you guys see it, Chuvalo, Quarry, Floyd Patterson, Bob Faucer, and he ended up losing, rematching Ken Norton to get back to Joe Frazier. What happened to the good old days of a guy getting back in contingency? So what's wrong with Lomachenko fighting someone else outside of Devin Haney to get back in contingency? So Jimmy Ellis fought Muhammad Ali after he came off a loss. Somebody got to do it. Somebody got to fight somebody coming off a loss. So if Tank were to fight Lomachenko after coming off a loss, I don't want to hear any excuses because a third of you think that Lomachenko won. You're putting videos out on it. Another third think it was a draw, so he's still intact. And he got to fight somebody. So if Tank and Lomachenko were to fight, I'm in the belief that there should be no excuses, and that's an acceptable fight. And I want to cook on this because there's a lot of woe to me with Lomachenko. What better way to set yourself up back for success than to beat Tank Davis or Shakur Stevenson if you're a Shakur Stevenson fan? I'm just in the belief that Tank is the best. And that's the guy that I'm supporting. So anybody that feels that Devin Haney didn't win the fight and Lomachenko won the fight, I want to hear your thoughts. If Tank fights this guy or Shakur Stevenson fight this guy and they were to beat him, are we going to hear the proverbial he coming off a loss? We can't have that shit going on because I'm noting who's saying they think he won and it was a robbery. Now, if you're a Devin Haney guy and you felt that he won a fight like myself, but most people even still feel like it was somewhat close, we got a lot of rewatching and a lot of rescoring going on because of the simple fact that, you know, it's the thing to do. It makes good for good content. But at the end of the day, it was a close fight, a solid fight, and it was for undisputed defense. But if Tank makes this fight with Lomo, as opposed to Haney, I don't want to hear any excuses. Because you're seeing a scenario in which an all-time great fought after coming off a loss because somebody got to do it. So, I mean, you can't just, when do you coming off a loss mean what? That you should never fight again, that you're banished from the realm of competitive boxing, and somehow it lessens the credit of the would-be new challenger because you came off of a loss? So I want to see Tank fight again at the end of this year. If he don't strike on this right now with the Devin Haney or Lomachenko fight, I would be extremely disappointed. Now, I guess amends could be made if him and Shakur Stevenson were to fight. I can understand that. But my top three choices would be Haney first, obviously for his undisputed, Lomachenko, and then Shakur Stevenson. I want to see him fight all three, but that's my prioritization of it. in that particular order. My top 3 for Tank Davis. I don't want to give you nothing past that because these guys only fight twice a year. And I don't want to just give you 18 months of a roster. Tank can fight again this year, which would be Devin Haney. Then he can fight twice next year. He should be able to maintain that at minimum, which could end up looking like a Lomo next year for a defense and a Shakur Stevenson for a defense. And he could go wherever he want to go from after that. So this is just my brief thoughts, cool, calm, and collected. And I was just contemplating and thinking about this. I'm not going to hold you guys up too much today. It's a quick one. I just gave you some food for thought. As a Tank Davis fan, I am calling for Devin Haney fight first, immediately. So don't mix me up with them other guys who trying to protect Tank. Tank needs to fight Devin Haney ASAP. No excuses. Tank Davis need to fight Lomachenko ASAP. No excuses. And as Shakur begins to build momentum, that makes a little bit more sense. That's why I have him third as a third option. No excuses, man. I'm just being real with you. No excuses. So I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna ask one more time. Is there anybody that believe that Lomachenko won a fight? And if anybody believe that, can you get on here and answer the question about if Tank was to sign a fight with Lomachenko, would there be full credit to Tank Davis or would there be excuses? Tank must fight this year against a worthy opponent. No excuses. No excuses, man. You beat your charge, you beat your case, you got a slap on the wrist. Tank, you're good to fight. No excuses. Watch your health, watch your diet. You should be doing that right now as we speak. But I don't want to hear this bullshit, man. The link is in the chat right now. The Muhammad Ali record is there. He was coming off a loss against Joe Frazier. He had to cycle back around and get into title contingency. And Lomachenko is an exception to the rule. He's just simply not an exception to the rule. Look at this, man. Look at this. All the way back up through Ken Norton, back to Joe Frazier in 74. First fight took place in fucking 71. He was 29 years old. The second fight took place in 74. He was 32 years old. And then he finally got to get his fight against Big George Foreman at 32 years old. The Rumble in the Jungle, Rumble in the Jungle, and you guys know the history on that. So Lomachenko is not different. He's not special. He has to put in the same amount of work as everybody else. So I'm going to leave you guys to it. I'm going to say this again. Lomachenko, if you're in the belief that he lost, or you believe that he won, and you believe that he won to the draw and he was robbed. If Tank Davis make this fight with Lomachenko, will there be any excuses? Because I believe Devin Haney won, so I believe the next course of action is for Tank to fight Devin Haney this year. If he don't, I'll be disappointed. But if he don't fight Haney, will there be excuses for Lomachenko? And you're more than welcome to come over here and explain that. If you believe that he lost the fight, because I want to open a panel to the guys who really believe that Lomachenko won and was robbed. I have no disagreement with your opinion. I just had it for Haney. And I called it for Haney. I just want to hear some different subjective opinions. I'm gonna drop the link one more time, and I'm gonna drop you off right here. If we don't get anybody in, I understand you might be busy. We'll try some other thing, but I'm gonna move past this. I want to make this clear as a Tank Davis fan. I want Tank to fight Devin Haney because I felt that Devin Haney won a fight. Plus, it's undisputed. But if Lomachenko is a second option, I want that fight with Lomachenko just as much as Devin Haney. Undisputed, all-time great, an undefeated prime fighter. There's a lot that Tank will have to weigh on that one. But I would choose Devin Haney, then Lomachenko. So, Tank, I need to see you fight later this year against a worthy opponent. Anything else is just not going to work, man, at this point for Tank. And for me as a Tank fan, I'm not buying anything. Listen, I'm going to tell you this now. I know sometimes I bend to this. I won't purchase another Tank pay-per-view, and I'm a Tank fan, until Tank fights, or if Tank fight one of those two guys. I'll take a Shakur Stevenson as a third. If he doesn't fight Haney, Lomo, or Shakur Stevenson for his next match, or from here on out in any kind of combination, I'm not buying Tank's pay-per-views. I'm going to boycott him. I'm going to just sit and chill and do something else with my Saturday. Because that's ridiculous. I'm not finna get milked for pay-per-views. You're not finna turn Tank Davis, I'm letting you know this. You're not finna turn a 3-fight, 18-month projection into a 5-year fucking play. You're not finna give me 2 fights in between Haney, all on pay-per-view, then the Haney. Then give me 2 fights in between Lomachenko, then Lomachenko pay-per-view, then 3 fights in between Shakur Stevenson, and y'all finally fight. Or we say this shit so we can move up to 140 and then remix it again. I'm not doing that shit. I'm letting you know this is my drop-off point right here. This shit is out the way. It's clear. And same thing with Haney. I like this pay-per-view. It was a good pay-per-view. But if Haney don't fight Shakur Stevenson or Lomachenko in a rematch or Tank, I'm not buying his pay-per-view either. If Lomachenko don't fight Tank, if you don't fight Devin Haney in a rematch or Shakur Stevenson, I'm not buying his pay-per-view either. Just real talk. This shit gotta stop, man. These niggas gotta fight. This 35, we gotta keep this going. We gotta keep that pressure on their ass. I'm not buying multiple pay-per-views. I promise you I won't. Those are my 3 options for Tank, or he won't get my support at all. I'm not watching Cruz again. It got to be on free TV. If it ain't, let me say this again. For Tank, if it's not Lomachenko, let me give you order, my priority. If it's not Haney, Lomachenko, Shakur Stevenson, you can kiss my ass on a pay-per-view purchase. Not Frank Martin, not Keyshawn Davis, not Pitbull Cruz 2. I don't give a fuck about none of that. Not no shit at 140. I'm not asking for that shit. I don't give a fuck if you fight T.O. at 140. That's not what I want to see. Tank versus Haney, Tank versus Lomachenko, Tank versus Shakur. And the same rules apply to those other guys that I just named. Shakur versus Tank, Lomachenko, or Devin Haney. Nothing else. Keyshawn Davis and Frank Martin should be fighting each other. Keyshawn Davis and Frank Martin need to be fighting Pitbull. Why don't they fucking mix it up for a goddamn change? Why they always got to jump the line and get involved with the grown folks' business at the top? Frank Martin and Keyshawn Davis and Pitbull Cruz and Cambosos, they can fucking fight each other. No disrespect, but let's see that shit. If it ain't that, I'm not fucking with it. I ain't even gonna have really nothing to say about it. I'm not finna give my energy and time to some bullshit and keep talking about what Tank is and anything. I'm not finna argue with none of you niggas. Tank bullshit. I'm gonna say it was a bullshit fight. I'm not interested because I'm laying. It's May the 22nd, 2023. I'm laying down my standard for Tank Davis in the 135 division right now as we speak. Those are the only options that I will accept. Anybody that's a Lomachenko truther, I'm gonna drop the link for the last time. It's in here. If you feel like he was robbed, honestly feel like he was robbed, come explain yourself, give your perspective, give your position. And I'm gonna ask you, at the end of all that, if Devin Haney was not available for Tank to fight, and Tank was to fight Lomachenko, will there be any excuses considering the fact that you, in your mind, thought that Lomachenko was robbed and it was a travesty? So I'm gonna cut this music up, gonna ride it out until the cycle come around twice. Nobody jumped in. I'm gonna assume that there's not that many Lomachenko truthers, or they're just not woke or awake or not willing to participate. In the meantime, between time, get ready for my debate. Me versus Get the Smoke. Legacy debate. I have Jack Johnson and he has Rocky Marciano. It is a legacy debate. He can bring whatever tools he got in his arsenal as a knowledgeable boxing fan. I'm going to bring everything that I have. It is Saturday. This Saturday coming up is going to be 3 o'clock PST time, West Coast time, California time. And it's going to be 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Florida, Georgia, New York, D.C., whole mid-Atlantic area. All right? And it's going to be 3 hours or a 3-hour slated block. We may not need all the 3 hours, but we will not exceed over 3 hours. Going to have 5 judges. Ryan Clark, Phil Walker, The Fix, Boxonologist, King G, Wayne Talk, and we're going to have infamous OG Blood Boxing all on the panel. Going to be me, Smoke, the 2 debaters, and then Rollo Jenkins is going to be the moderator to keep the peace. Where's that going to be at? On my channel, live in HD this Saturday, 6 o'clock Eastern Time. All right. It appears that everybody's good. So we're going to ride it on out. A quick video. Just laying out my expectations for Tank. There you have it. I'm closing this out about this 135 shit, and I'm moving on to something else. I'll be preparing some historical content, moving toward this heavyweight division, and maybe this Canelo Benavidez conversation. But this is it for me. Good weekend of boxing. I'm not finna continue to talk about if Haney was robbed and this and that and all that. I don't care. The results are the fucking results. And I explain to you what I want next and what I believe to be next. Straight up and down, no special effects.
5 people you ready to fight right now.
Timothy Bradley, Paul, Floyd Mayweather, Devin Alexander, and whoever the fans want to see.
Listen, I told you give them something visual, so you in the head and made your own YouTube-based TV show. It's an array of IPAs and fighters on the road. Got a question? Put them in your comment section right below. Barbershop talk while you're sitting in your living room. Pacquiao, Mayweather, and we can't forget the brews. Coming to you live with the scoops like a ladle. Allow me to introduce the boxing round table. Yeah.
Rollo Jenkins, boxologist, Zone 6, Dre, BT Pound, 78 Fight News, Blood Boxing, Blood Fists, Boxing Beats and Rhymes, Female Boxing Fan, Carter J, Pull Counter, Joker Boxing, D Styles, the whole YTBC.